Creator is that voice that comes up with all the tangible things. Creator has instruments.
Oh, hey, did you say something? Oh, wait, hey, how's it going? It's Leander here from Healings and Associates, talking again about how COVID sucks and does your process suck too, as well, part two. Yeah, noise. I mean, sometimes it's good, like great music right there, right? And other times it just creates so much confusion and is really just a major distraction. And in education, there's never been noise like there is today as we make decisions. And there's a couple things that are really playing into that, a couple factors. And I just want to talk about those, and then we're going to get down to some important elements of decision making. And so one factor that's playing into the noise has been leaders' self-awareness or a lack thereof. Because many leaders in education have an aversion to conflict. I mean, we as humans do, but my aversion to conflict creates a blind spot in my decision making. And what can happen is when there's conflict or there needs to be conflict, and trust me, I hear over and over from administrators how much conflict there has been in their districts around these COVID-based decisions. Well, when there's aversion to conflict, it biases my decision making in some very unproductive ways. So what do I do with that? Well, I need to always be improving my self-awareness as a leader, and especially right now in crisis leadership. So one way to do that and eliminate my blind spot, or I should say reduce my blind spot, because it never goes away, but to make it as small as possible, is to seek feedback from others around me, including those who don't always agree with me. In other words, I'm not just getting feedback from my yes people. I need to ask them, am I avoiding conflict right now? Should I engage this current conflict differently in more productive ways? Is there something I should do to engage this better? So that's a really key piece that's playing into the noise around our decision making right now and causing our processes to suck. And remember, it's COVID that sucks, but it's really affecting us. Another piece that's playing into the noise around decision making is the issue of equity. If you're still living in the past and making decisions as if you're in a past mindset, those decisions, your past decisions, were made to maximize equity for everyone. And you know what? That's a great thing. I wish we were doing that now. However, COVID is forcing us to make decisions where no decision is a perfect decision. And you're choosing from a plate of imperfect decisions where, guess what? Someone is going to lose. And that's a hard thing to accept. It's a hard thing for our communities to accept, for our staff to accept in our district. But if we as leaders can't accept that we're going to have to choose a decision that brings loss for some and gain for others, we'll freeze as a leader. And that's not leadership. So unfortunately, that's the reality that we live in today. So what do we do? Because decisions are needed and we're the ones that have to make those. What do you do when there are imperfect decisions to make and no perfect decision? What do you do when there's conflicting data? Well, there's a couple key ingredients to our decision making to improve our processes, since COVID sucks so badly and is sometimes making our decision making process suck. First of all, we need to define our decision making framework before we start making the decisions. And it's surprising to me of how many times decisions are sort of rushed into and we just start saying, okay, let's start making decisions, and we haven't talked about the decision-making framework ahead of time. For example, what data will you look at? And when I say look at throughout COVID. What are the key metrics that you're going to monitor in your decision-making? These are key data sources. And remember, I'm saying key data sources, not all data sources. There's so much data you could look at, and that's not helpful because it leads to paralysis by analysis. We need to limit and narrow down what key data sources are we going to look at. Secondly, and this is something that's very significant, especially if you've been living in the past with equity-based decisions. And my question to you is, what data will have what weight in your decisions? For example, Outside of education, they're very accustomed to making conflict-laden decisions with multiple and sometimes conflicting data. But let's say if we were building an office building or an architect who has to factor in different data sources, such as what about energy savings? What weight will that have in the design of the building? Number two, cost of all the windows. What would the initial cost of the purchase of the windows, but also cost of ownership of the windows play into the design of the building? How about the amount of light that's desired within the building? That could be from an aesthetics point of view or also from a heating cost point of view. What role will the amount of light play within the building? Well, guess what? You take just those 3 data points and those are going to push you different directions depending on which data point has what weight to it. And so these decisions that we're having to make, COVID-based leadership decisions, are surfacing and even redefining the values of your district. For example, are kids first or are adults first? And I'm not telling you which is right or wrong. I'm just pointing out this is what I'm hearing from people, and they haven't weighted their decisions as far as the data points and what weight they will have as they move forward. Secondly, another key thing, not only do you need to define your decision-making framework in those ways, but also communicate your decision-making framework. Districts who have come out with a strong decision, come out strong with their decision and explained, here's what data was used, and when it's different or more reliable, or there's consistent data that comes into play, we will adjust the decision. Those districts who have come out that way are much further ahead of those who are just allowing politics and what are we hearing today and who's screaming louder to push them all over the map. So again, we want to communicate our decision-making framework, but also we have to make the imperfect decision. You only have imperfect, unequitable decisions to pick from right now. That's just the reality of the landscape. And it's important for us to communicate that to our community and our stakeholders as well. Hindsight might tell you that you made a wrong decision, but if you don't move forward, there's no way to get the data to know that either, or to make the improvements as you move forward. So we need to stop circling and stop freezing. And I know these are challenging times. And even though you come out and you make the imperfect decision, you will still get heat, you will still get hate mail. I'm sorry to tell you that, but that's just the reality that we're living in right now. But you can rest better in your decision making and assure the people around you, if you will factor in these key elements to your decision making, it will definitely reduce some of the noise, the stress, and the anxiety that's going on right now. Well, that's it. If we can help you in any way, I understand there's so much more we could talk about, but these are just Coaching Quip videos, right? If you need our assistance, we're helping people all the time with these kinds of things, establishing the frameworks, working through the process. Just let us know. You can contact either David Hewlings or myself. If you reach out to me, it's leander.rabe@gmail.com. That's all lowercase. Rabe is spelled R-A-B-E. Or you can go to our website, hewlingsandassociates.com. I look forward to talking with you in the future. Thanks so much.
Creator is that voice that comes up with all the tangible things. Creator has instruments.